dimes. In practice drills, the #1 defense can't stop them. People take notice of that, and the more that the players see it, they're gonna. Then the comments start happening over the lunch table. They start happening throughout the building, and that's when the pressure really will get severe.
Chef, you mentioned, what do they have next year in the draft?
2 first-round draft picks, their own pick and Jacksonville's pick.
It's got to play into it.
That would be a nice exit strategy because it would come off as doing Shedeur a favor. Like
I mean, one's got to go, right? One's got to go. See, to clear this thing up.
At some point, but I'm sorry, I know they don't care. If they were to trade Shedeur Sanders now after that preseason performance and he would go on to be good, nobody in this building would survive that.
Breaking news out of Cleveland. And no, this ain't another tired meme about the factory of sadness. This one's real chaos on fire. The Browns are reportedly in meltdown mode, and Jason Kelce just threw gasoline straight on the blaze. Picture a team trying to build a shiny new championship car, but somebody forgot to tighten the wheels. Now it's wobbling all over the highway. The Browns' owner is said to be furious. Fans are already sharpening the pitchforks. And the drama. It's juicier than a soap opera staged in the middle of a parking lot tailgate. Jason Kelce wasn't supposed to be the guy causing Cleveland chaos. He retired, grew out the beard even bigger, and was expected to sit comfy in a TV studio, giving out family-friendly banter. Instead, he casually dropped a live grenade into the Browns' locker room, and the echo is rattling from Lake Erie to every sad soul sitting in the dog pound. You know it's ugly when Kelce, an Eagles legend, looks at Cleveland and basically says, "Wow, that's a straight-up mess." It's like Gordon Ramsay walking into a kitchen, taking one sniff, and immediately screaming for the health inspector. And here's the twist. Kelce didn't go on some rant for clout. He's a Super Bowl champ, respected by players across the league because he's been in the trenches. So when he points out Cleveland's cracks, everybody listens. And Browns owner Jimmy Haslam? Reports say he went from calmly sipping coffee to flipping furniture in pure rage.
Shedeur Sanders in there with the lowest cab drivers you couldn't even get on 5th Street. And I'm pissed off, bro, because the play calling was abysmal. Look, even if you don't like Shedeur didn't even get a chance to be trash. Even if you think Shedeur is garbage, he didn't even get a chance to be garbage. That's how awful the offensive line was. Kevin Stefanski still doesn't want to give Shedeur second strings and first strings reps. Why is that? Now, what's more horrible about this game was it was to the point on every single snap.
This isn't some random headline. This is Cleveland's DNA of chaos flashing in high definition for the whole NFL to see. For years now, the Browns have lived stuck in some NFL twilight zone. They're just good enough to give fans hope, but dysfunctional enough to blow it all up at the absolute worst moment. The Browns brand isn't about winning or losing anymore. It's about serving disappointment with an extra side of heartbreak, and Jason Kelce just threw a giant stadium spotlight on all of it. Let's rewind for a second, because Cleveland has been building like wild in their endless chase for respect. Draft picks flying, fat contracts tossed around like parade candy, anything to finally look like contenders. They gambled the house, the mortgage, and maybe even a future lakefront skyscraper on Deshaun Watson, praying he'd be the savior. They've got Myles Garrett wrecking quarterbacks like he's auditioning for the next Marvel blockbuster. And Nick Chubb, before the injury, was the kind of back that haunted defenses in their sleep.
Crowded quarterback room about releasing Tyler Huntley and trading Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously to the dismay of some, Shedeur haters that want to see him fail, but also the Shedeur supporters that want to see him with a better organization. I'm not shocked by this result whatsoever. I always thought Pickett and Flacco were competing for the starting job, and whoever didn't get the starting job would be the one they got rid of. Sanders.
But here's the harsh truth Kelce just exposed. Insiders whisper it. Fans don't want to believe it. This whole team is one bad week away from blowing sky high. The foundation? Straight quicksand. It might look pretty on Zillow, shiny paint and all, but give it time and that living room's sinking into the basement. And now for the fuse that lit everything on fire, Jimmy Haslam. If you know anything about the Browns' owner, patience isn't exactly in his playbook. Word is, when Kelce aired out Cleveland's dirty laundry, Haslam didn't shrug it off as casual talk. He took it personally, like somebody just roasted his haircut on live TV.
Them to treat him in a way that we may have found a diamond in the rough. Let's give him every opportunity to be the starter so we can build a team around him with 2 first-round picks next year. But that's not how Kevin Stefanski sees him. That's not how Andrew Berry sees him. The Cleveland Browns organization sees him. They see him as a 5th-round pick. So he got the reps that 5th-round picks get. They see him as a player that's a developmental player. So he played alongside other players that are developing. When you're Shedeur Sanders, you have to do what Russell Wilson was able to do the same year Matt Flynn was acquired by the Seattle Seahawks. You have to show so far above and beyond that you deserve to be on the field that they can't.
Reports say he was livid, and let's be honest, billionaires aren't used to being told they messed up, especially not with millions of NFL fans watching. This isn't just anger, it's fear of being exposed. NFL owners live for controlling the story, pushing the illusion that everything's smooth, the locker room is united, and the coaches are masterminds. But let's be real, the factory of sadness didn't pop out of thin air. It was built brick by brick through decades of weird choices, cursed plays, and soul-crushing heartbreaks. And then comes the quarterback situation. You don't pay that kind of money to be average, you pay for fireworks. The problem? Cleveland tied their entire future to him. And so far, it feels like signing a Netflix series with an amazing trailer, only to sit through episode after episode of pure disappointment. That's the heart of the chaos. It's not just one problem, it's a whole cocktail of dysfunction. The coaching staff under fire, play calling that makes fans rub their eyes in disbelief, a locker room that reportedly can't always stay on the same page, and an owner with the patience of a ticking time bomb. Add injuries to the mix, and suddenly that playoff window looks less like a window and more like a door somebody bricked shut. Picture this offense moving at dial-up internet speed while the rest of the league is blazing on fiber optic. You're doomed before kickoff. And Jason Kelce didn't whisper it. He basically said out loud what Browns fans only admit to themselves at 2 a.m. This offense can't be trusted, and the coaching staff doesn't look like they've got the cure. So of course, ownership blew up. Imagine Jimmy Haslam sitting in his luxury suite, realizing the entire league is snickering at Cleveland again. It's like being the kid who spent hours on a science project, only for the class clown to yell, "You glued everything upside down," in front of everybody. Here's the hilarious twist. Getting mad doesn't fix a thing. Jimmy Haslam can stomp around, glare at his staff, and rage about media leaks all he wants, but none of that changes the truth. The Browns? Loaded with talent? Yes. Dangerous when clicking? Yes. But solid from the inside out? Absolutely not. And Jason Kelce didn't invent the chaos. He just flipped on the light switch for everyone to see. Now the fans...
Yes, fast enough. This what's going on in Cleveland? God. Kevin, you think we all are stupid? You don't think we know football? If you're a football fan, we clearly know what you did. We clearly know that the plays that you gave for Dylan Gabriel, throwing the check down.
Oh, the dog pound. One of the most loyal groups in all of sports, but even they're split down the middle. Some think Kelce's comments were blown out of proportion, just another media circus. Others are spiraling, already convinced this season is circling the drain before Halloween. That divide is classic Cleveland. On one side, the dreamers saying, maybe this year is different. Maybe Watson finally locks in. Maybe Stefanski finds the spark. On the other side, pure skepticism. Same old Browns, just dressed up in shinier packaging. And once the media smelled blood, it was open season. Sports outlets pounced instantly, turning Kelce's comments into headlines coast to coast. And the fallout? Cleveland players forced to answer questions they didn't ask for. Nothing divides a locker room faster than outside noise blasted through a megaphone. That's the ripple effect. Kelce didn't just speak his mind, he set off a chain reaction. His words fueled the owner's fury, rattled the fans, fed the media frenzy, and cranked up the tension inside the locker room. Think about that. One retired center managed to shake the Browns to their core without even stepping onto the field. That's power. And the thing about NFL dysfunction, it's never just one problem. It's a buffet of disaster. You walk up, grab a plate, and suddenly you're scooping a big spoonful of questionable coaching, a ladle of quarterback doubt, and a heavy side serving of ownership impatience. And Cleveland? They never seem to know when to stop piling on that plate. By the time Cleveland's drama plate is full, it looks less like a championship meal and more like Thanksgiving dinner cooked by a toddler.
That miserable game by the Cleveland Browns. So they throw Joe Flacco in there, and I like Joe Flacco. He did good, but they gave him the resource of all the first-team guys. Then they throw Dylan Gabriel in there with first teams and second teams. So Dylan always is getting protected. The same thing again, they gave this scrub max protection on every play. Yeah, he completed some passes, but let's talk about his mistakes. He's still inconsistent with his throws, but he at least had max protection.
And when Jason Kelce yanked back the curtain, that buffet of disaster was right there for the whole league to see. Those locker room frustrations didn't just magically appear. They've been simmering. Players always know when the vibe is off. NFL locker rooms are just like high schools. There are cliques, leaders, side deals, and every now and then a fight over who swiped somebody's protein shake. And let's be real, the return on investment so far, it's like buying blockbuster stock in 2010. Injuries stacking up, inconsistent play, a flash of brilliance here and there, and then long stretches of fans asking, "Wait, this is the guy we paid how much for?" That deal wasn't just expensive, it reshaped the quarterback market. It made the rest of the league roll its eyes and turned Cleveland into the poster child every other team points at when contract talks go sideways. Now drop Jason Kelce's warning on top of that mess, and suddenly the spotlight beams right on Deshaun Watson. He can't just be decent, he has to be elite every single week. And every time he's not, you can feel the blood pressure spike across the whole city of Cleveland. The locker room feels it too, because nothing splits a team quicker than frustration with the quarterback. Some players back him, some quietly doubt him, and the rest just want wins without the circus attached. It's like writing a flawless essay, only for your partner to spill coffee all over it 5 minutes before it's due. That's the tension Kelce pointed straight at, without even digging deep. And anyone who's ever seen a defense start resenting its offense knows exactly what that means. Buckle up because the ride gets bumpy from here. That's when the sideline blow-ups start. That's when star players drop those cryptic post-game quotes that make fans hit rewind 3 times.
Shedeur Sanders is not only false, it's wildly disrespectful and disingenuous. So you mean to tell me, and this is not me taking shots at anybody who said it, but you mean to tell me that a guy who has dedicated his life and his career to the game and the development of players has chosen Shedeur Sanders as the one to sabotage, the son of an NFL legend?
That's when the chemistry starts cracking wide open, and suddenly a team built to contend is pointing fingers instead of celebrating wins. And don't forget about Kevin Stefanski. He's not just coaching football, he's managing a full-blown soap opera in cleats. Every single play call gets picked apart like it's evidence in a courtroom. Too many runs? You're predictable. Too many passes? You're reckless. Play it safe? You're spineless. Take risks? You're desperate. In Cleveland, the only way to win is to actually win, and that pressure is suffocating. Now that Jason Kelce's comments are out in the open, you can bet every Stefanski decision will be shredded with twice the venom. Now zoom out. Picture Jimmy Haslam in this moment. He's poured mountains of cash into this roster, swung bold trades, and dropped one of the most controversial contracts in NFL history. Only for Kelce to spin Cleveland into the punchline of the entire week. And the wildest part? Rival teams are loving it. The Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers are all licking their chops because a Browns implosion makes their path smoother. Every ounce of dysfunction in Cleveland turns into free entertainment for their fan bases. Baltimore fans sipping wine and laughing, typical Cleveland. Pittsburgh fans polishing their 6 Super Bowl rings while smirking. And Cincinnati, they're just enjoying that rare feeling of being the stable franchise in the AFC North, something nobody would have said a decade ago. And while the rivals celebrate, Browns fans are going to war with each other. You've got the optimists yelling, "This is just noise, ignore it." And then the skeptics, shaking their heads saying, "Same old Browns, here we go, again." The emotional civil war is as real as it gets. Some fans shout, "Ignore it, the Browns will prove everybody wrong." Then you've got the pessimists rolling their eyes saying, "We've seen this movie 1,000 times. Same script, different year."
Named for the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski says it's Dillon, Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders will be the 3. Let's talk about why this is. Well, first of all, the Cleveland Browns clearly evaluated Dillon Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders back to the NFL draft when they took Gabriel in the 3rd round and Shedeur in the 5th. However, both rookies had moments in the preseason where they showed flashes of greatness and flashes of, well, they're clearly rookie quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders in his debut, 2 pinpoint accurate touchdown passes.
And in the middle, the realists who know both sides are kind of right because Cleveland is always stuck on that razor's edge, balance between glory and full-blown disaster. And the media? They can't get enough of it. Talk shows eat this drama for breakfast. Analysts spend whole segments debating. Are the Browns doomed? Can Watson bounce back? Is Stefanski's job already hanging by a thread? Cleveland isn't just battling this season's problems. They're battling ghosts from decades of dysfunction. This is the franchise that ditched town for Baltimore, only to watch the Ravens win a Super Bowl almost immediately. This is the team that passed on Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the draft, just to grab guys who vanished after 2 sad seasons. This is the team whose highlight reels often look like blooper compilations on repeat. So when Jason Kelce said the Browns are in trouble, it cut deeper. It wasn't just about now. It was about history dragging them down again. And here's the cruel joke. The Browns actually are talented enough to win big. This isn't some hopeless bottom dweller anymore. That's why the whole saga is both hilarious and painful. They've got the roster, they've got the defense, they've got the weapons. But poor leadership and non-stop drama might waste it all. That's the real Cleveland curse. They can build a championship-level squad and still trip over their own shoelaces at the finish line. The defense? Loaded. The offense? Dangerous. And if Deshaun Watson suddenly remembers he's supposed to be worth $230 million, everything could flip fast. But let's keep it real. This is Cleveland. Even when the stars line up perfectly, there's always some cosmic banana peel waiting to make them fall flat on the field.
Shedeur Sanders, somebody on the Cleveland Browns is 100% getting fired, probably by the end of this year. The person who's probably going to end up getting fired is Kevin Stefanski, because I know that he didn't want Shedeur Sanders on the team. It was Andrew Berry who made that pick. You can't really go against your GM. Bad things happen in this situation. But Shedeur Sanders is not without fault for what we saw yesterday. This is the play that we saw yesterday that has the internet just exploding, where Shedeur Sanders took like a 24-yard sack. Half of the internet is saying that this is all Kevin Stefanski.
And that's exactly why Jason Kelce's words exploded like dynamite. He didn't just call out a bad play or a shaky drive. He basically ripped the bandage off decades of scars Cleveland has tried to hide. The timing couldn't be worse either, because this season was supposed to be the turning point. The season where all that talent finally pushed the Browns into legit Super Bowl conversations. Instead, they're back in the headlines for dysfunction. And once again, the league is laughing. Think about the ripple effect. Players now walking into press conferences knowing the first question isn't about their game, but about locker room chaos. Coaches second-guessing every play call because one mistake becomes national gossip. Fans arguing with each other like it's Thanksgiving dinner gone wrong. And rival teams? They're just grinning ear to ear, watching Cleveland sabotage itself in real time. Here's the real sting. Jason Kelce didn't even have to exaggerate. Everything he said is already woven into the Browns' DNA. The inconsistency, the drama, the short fuse at the top, it's all been there. He just dared to say it out loud on a big stage, and now the cracks are impossible to ignore. Cleveland's got everything on paper: star talent, a stacked defense, and weapons that could make noise against anyone. But with dysfunction this loud, paper rosters don't matter. The NFL is ruthless, and the second a team shows weakness, the Sharks circle fast. Right now, the Browns look less like contenders and more like a reality show playing out on Sundays. And that's why Kelce's mic drop moment matters. It's not about one game, it's about the entire identity of a franchise. Cleveland keeps trying to build a castle, but the foundation is still sand. Until that changes, every season will feel like deja vu, hype, hope, and heartbreak on repeat.
What it is about the Cleveland team on why we can't get over this fact that we can't get our franchise quarterback. I mean, you see the jerseys. I'm tired of seeing the jerseys. I'm tired of the names just going and going and going. I literally thought Brandon Weeden was going to be our guy at one point. And then I'll never forget I think it was a preseason game, a flag goes over his head and he's trying to get out of the flag.
You knew it was
while
over.
They're doing the national anthem. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my starting quarterback.
And here's where it really gets ugly. The Browns aren't just fighting their opponents on the field, they're fighting the weight of their own history. Every fumble, every blown draft pick, every meltdown on national TV, it all lingers like a curse. And Jason Kelce just reminded the world of it in one brutal soundbite. The Browns can't escape the shadow of their own chaos. When you've got an owner known for a short fuse, a coach constantly judged like he's on trial, and a quarterback carrying the heaviest contract in NFL history, every mistake becomes a headline. And Kelce? He didn't just spark debate. He made those headlines louder, sharper, and harder to ignore. Look at the AFC North right now. The Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals are all licking their chops. To them, Cleveland's dysfunction is free comedy and free wins. While they're sharpening their playoff plans, the Browns are stuck arguing about whether their quarterback can even deliver a clean drive without controversy attached. That's the kind of distraction that kills seasons. And the fans? Oh, they're split like never before. Some are still clinging to hope, convinced the talent will finally shine through. Others are exhausted, saying, "We've seen this too many times, nothing changes." And in between, you've got the realists, shaking their heads, knowing Cleveland always finds a way to stumble when it matters most. That's why Kelce's words hit so hard. They exposed the Browns' eternal tightrope walk between greatness and collapse. This roster should be scaring teams, but instead it's scaring its own fan base. Until Cleveland proves it can handle success without imploding, they'll keep being the NFL's favorite punchline. And right now, the punchline is burning hotter than ever. The irony here is almost straight out of Shakespeare. The Browns have enough talent to climb the mountain, but just enough dysfunction to tumble right back down in spectacular fashion. And now, thanks to one retired center who decided to call it exactly how he sees it, the entire league is locked in, waiting to see which way this story goes.
There was not a league-wide anti-Shedeur conspiracy. I think that's ridiculous. Number two, I do think he has more talent than Dillon Gabriel, but I don't think for the job they're trying to win, which is backup quarterback, raw talent is the deciding factor. I think readiness is, and it does appear right now Gabriel is more ready. Even though he had practiced poorly, he played better in the preseason than Shedeur did. Number three, I don't think Stefanski ever wanted him. I do think that, and I do think there is an element of I knew I was going to spend a certain amount of energy this offseason developing a young quarterback.
Will Cleveland finally silence the doubters and prove they're more than just hype? Or will Jason Kelce's huge trouble prophecy come true? Another painful chapter in the never-ending factory of sadness saga? That's the tension gripping this season. And the cruel truth is, with the Browns, disaster always feels just one snap away. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Do you think the Browns will shock everyone or fall apart again? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with other fans, and I'll see you on the next one.